Okay, sorry for this. Hello everyone and welcome to another live English lesson. So today we're going to eat what we started last time. If you remember, we studied something about certain countries. We read certain texts concerning these countries. And in addition to that, we started speaking about have and have got, but we didn't complete it. So today we're going to continue. So as you remember, we spoke when we talked about the English speaking countries, which were, we said, these are the countries that we talked about, and we said the first flag belongs to, who can remember? What did we said? The first flag belongs to Mustafa?
New Zealand.
New Zealand. Yes, exactly. And what about the second flag? We said it belongs to. Don't you remember? We said that the second flag belongs to. Only Mustafa is raising his hands. Mustafa?
Scotland.
Yes, Scotland. And the third one, which is so easy, we said it belongs to. Mustafa again.
Canada.
Yes, exactly. And what about the fourth one? It belongs to. What about other students? They are still sleeping. How's one?
South Africa.
The fourth one, this one that is below New Zealand. What do you say, Mustafa?
Australia.
Australia, yes. And now what is about the fifth one? It's flag of South Africa, right? Huh? And of course, the bigger one belongs to the United States of America. So we talked about these countries and we read certain texts about these countries, if you remember. But today we're going to try to look for have and have got in these countries and see what is meant by them. So is have or have got used in the previous text? Let us return to the text again. Who can read this text again? Who can read it? Mustafa?
This country has quite a small population, just 16 million, but the country is huge.
Huge.
The people are mainly of European descent, but there are also and
Aborigines, yes.
aborigines and a lot of Southeast Asian immigrants. People live in towns on the coast, not so much in inland, because it is so hot. They live a lot of their lives outdoors and enjoy sports, swimming, and having barbecues. This country export wine and wool. It is more than 60 million sheep. It has more than 60 million sheep.
Yes, thank you. Just to warm up, who else can read this text? What about other students? Try to wake up, try to read, Try to participate. It's the easiest way you can participate with. You can read it again. Hanan, can you read it? Who can read this text again? Hanan?
The country has a small population, just 16 million, but the country is huge. The people are mainly of Arabian descent, but there are also Aborigines and a lot of Southeast Asian immigrants.
Immigrants.
People live in towns on the coast, not so much inland because it's so hot. They live a lot of their lives outdoors and enjoy sports, swimming and having barbecues. This country exports wine and wool. It has more than 60 million sheep.
Okay, thank you. But now, when you read this, you made the people of this country Arabian. They are European, not Arabian. Okay. Now, is there any line in this text that contains the verb have or have got? Can you find any? Do you think that we have or have got in this text? هذا التكست هل قطع بها have أو have got؟ Hanan?
No.
No,
it
are you
doesn't.
okay? What about others? You said no. So try to look for it. Now, let us start reading it again. This country has quite a small population. Hanan?
Has cute a small population or having
Yes.
barbecues.
Okay. This country has quite a small population. This is number one. Has just 16 million, but the country is huge. The people are mainly of European descent, but there are also Aborigines and a lot of Southeast Asian. People live in towns on the coast, not so much inland, because it is so hot. They live a lot of their lives outdoors and enjoy sports, swimming, and having barbecues. Having barbecues, this is not included. I don't care about it. This country exports wine and wool. It has more than 60 million sheep. So we have to have, to has, because the subject in both of the sentences is singular. This country has, and it has more. So we have two. Two has. Let us now move to the second text, if you remember. This was the second text. Who can read it? Mustafa Khalid, of course.
This is the second biggest country in the world, but it has a population of only 30 million. It is so big that there is a variety of climates. Most people live in the south because the north is too cold. It's famous for its beautiful mountains and lakes. It has more lakes than any other country. Their favorite sports are baseball and ice hockey.
Ice hockey. Yes. Yes, that's right. Thank you. Who else can read this text? Who else can read this text? What about other students? They are still sleeping, I think. Hanan?
This is the second biggest country in the world, but it has a population of only 30 million. It's so big that there is a variety of climates. Most people live in the south because the north is too cold. It is famous for its beautiful mountains and lakes. It has more lakes than any other country. Their favorite sports and basketball and ice hockey.
Are baseball and ice hockey, yes, thank you. Now, do we have the verb have or have got here? What do you think, Mustafa?
Has only it has population of only 30 million.
Yes, that's right.
And the second one, it has more lakes than any other country.
Yes, that's right. It has more lakes than any other country. Yes, that's right. So, in the second text, we also have two. Okay, now let's move to the third one. Mustafa?
This country has a population of about 45 million. Of these, 76% are black and 12% white. It has a warm, uh, gr- gross climate. Either it never rains or it rains a lot. It is the world's biggest producer of gold, and it exports diamonds too. It grows a lot of fruit, including oranges, pears, and grapes, and it makes the wine. In the game receivers, you can see a lot of wildlife, including lions, elephants, zebras, and giraffes.
Okay, thank you. Who else can read it? We only have two students participating today. The others are not participating. And if a student doesn't participate, it means he has 0 for that day. So beware of the 0. Who can read it again? We have a lot of readings today. Who can read it? Hanan?
This country has a population of about 45 million. Of these, 76% are black and 12% white. It has a warm climate. Either it never rains or it rains a lot, or it rains a lot. It's the world's biggest producer of gold, and it exports diamonds
Diamond.
diamonds too. It grows a lot of fruit, including orange, pears, and grapes, and
Grapes.
it makes when in the game receives, you can see a lot of wildlife in wildlife, including lions, elephants, zebras, and ge- uh,
Giraffes, yes.
graphs.
Okay, so do we have the verb have or have got in the text? Mustafa?
This country has a population of about 45 million. Has. This is the first one.
Yes,
And
that's
the second
right.
one, it has a warm climate.
Yes, that's right. Do you have another one? Do you have another one?
No, I don't think so.
No, we don't have another one. So pay attention that in these three texts, we only have the verb have. We call it have because now we are talking about the verb itself, so we call it by its root form. That's why we say have, although that we have the form of has in these texts. However, so we have the verb have in these three texts, but we don't have the combination have got in them. And we should remember that these texts are descriptions of certain countries, right? We're here in these texts, we were describing Australia, Canada, and South Africa. So now, as a matter of fact, in the previous lecture, we didn't have time to talk about another text because we couldn't have a good connection. However, so now I'm going to show you certain texts and you are going to guess the country again. In addition to that, we are going to look for have and have got in them. Right? Are you following؟ هسه راح نشوف بعض أيضا ثلاث نصوص راح أقرأهم وراح تقروهم ولازم أنتم أيضا تخمنون هذا الكاونتري اللي عم نحكي عليه خلال النصوص القادمة. بالإضافة لذلك راح نبحث عن have و have got بالنصوص. طبعا just to remind you that the countries are New Zealand, Scotland, Canada, Australia, South Africa, and the United States of America. So let us check the other texts. First one, here, there's someone speaking about country, and he or she says, well, my country's got a population of about 3.5 million, so it's not a big place. Most of the people are from Europe, but about 12% are Maori. They were the original inhabitants. A lot of people live in bungalows, which are small houses on one floor, and have a pet. It's a very beautiful country. It's got a lot of mountains, and people love the countryside. Oh, and we're very good at rugby and cricket. I'm going to read it again. Well, my country's got a population of about 3.5 million, so it's not a big place. Most of the people are from Europe, but about 12% are Maori. They were the original inhabitants. A lot of people live in bungalows, which are small houses on one floor, and have a pet. It's a very beautiful country. It's got a lot of mountains, and people love the countryside. Oh, and we are very good at rugby and cricket. Who can read it? Now pay attention that here in this text, there's someone talking about their country, right? Mustafa?
Well, my country's got a population of about 3.5 million, so it's not a big place. Most of the people are from Europe, but about 12% are Maori. They were the original
Inhabitants.
inhabitants.
Inhabitants, yes.
A lot of people live in bungalows, which are small houses on one floor, and have a pet. It's a very beautiful country. It's got a lot of mountains and people love the countryside. And we are very good at rugby and cricket.
Yes, thank you. Who else can read the text? Noor can.
Well, my country's got a population of about 3.5 million, so it is not a big place. Most of the people are from Europe, but about 12% are Maori. They were the original inhabitants. A lot of people live in bungalows, which are small houses on one floor and have a bed. It is a very beautiful country. It has got a lot of mountains, and the people love the countryside. And we're very good at rugby and cricket.
Yes, thank you. Who else can read it? Hanan Ghazwan.
Well, my country's got a population of about 3.5 million, so it's not a big place. Most of the people are from Europe, but about 12% are Maori. They were the original inhabitants. A lot of people live in bungalows, which are small houses on one floor and have a pet. It's a very beautiful country. It's got a lot of mountains and people love the countryside. All and and we are very good at Ruby and
Cricket.
what?
Cricket. Yes, thank you. So, thank you. Now the question is, do we have or have got in this text? Which is originally not a text. Here we have someone speaking about their country. So, Mustafa, are you raising your hand?
My country's got.
So what is this?
It's like my country has got.
Yes, exactly. That's
And
right.
the other one, uh, it's got a lot of mountains.
It's got a lot of mountains. Yes, that's right. What else do we have here? Hanan?
Have a pet.
Have a pet. Yes. What is meant by pet?
Um, I don't know.
Pet يعني حيوان أليف. So, do we have another have here? Okay, now we read this one and we said that we have two have gots and one have, right? It is the first time that we encounter a text in which there is the combination have got, right? Now let us move to the second one. Here we also have someone talking about their country. And he or she says, I come from a big country. It has a lot of wide open spaces. We have a population of almost 300 million, and these people have come from all over the world. We have big cosmopolitan cities, but a lot of people live on farms, ranches, and in small towns. We like baseball and football, or kind of football, and we love to eat hamburgers with fries and apple pie and ice cream. Now, what I missed concerning the previous text, what I missed about it, is to ask you to guess the country. So can you guess the country of the first text, this one that we read? Can you guess the country? Do you know what country is this? Which one among those? Do you have an answer? So if you don't, we're going to check the second one and see. So no one has got an answer. Let's check this one. I'm going to read it again quickly. I come from a big country. It has a lot of wide open spaces. We have a population of almost 3 million, and these people have come from all over the world. We have big cosmopolitan cities, but a lot of people live on farms, ranches, and in small towns. We like baseball and football, our kind of football, and we love to eat hamburgers with fries and apple pie and ice cream. Who can read it? Mustafa.
I come from a big country. It has a lot of wide open spaces. We have a population of almost 300 million, and these people have come from all over the world. We have a big cities,
Cosmopolitan.
cosmopolitan cities, but a lot of people live on farms, ranches, and in small towns. We like baseball and football, our kind of football, and we love to eat hamburgers with fries and apple pie and ice cream.
Yes, thank you. Who else? Who can read it? Again, Noor can.
I come from a big country. It has a lot of wide open spaces. We have a population of almost 300 million, and these people have come from all over the world. We have big cos-
Cosmopolitan. Cosmopolitan.
cosmopolitan cosmopolitan cities, but a lot of people live on farms, ranches, and in small towns. We like baseball and football, our kind of football, and we love eat hamburgers with fries and pie and ice cream.
Yes, thank you. Who else can read it? Of course, Hanan.
I come from a big country. It has a lot of wide open spaces. We have a population of almost 300 million, and these people have come from all over the world. We have big cosmopolitan
Politan,
cities,
yes.
but a lot of people live on farms, ranches, and in small towns. We like basketball and football, our kind of football, and we love to eat hamburgers with fries and apple pie and ice cream.
Yes, thank you. Hamburgers with fries and apple pie and ice cream. So, do we have or have got here? What do you think? Can you find have or have got here, Hanan?
In the second line, we have a population of almost
Yes.
100 million.
Yes, that's right.
And in the three line, we have a big cosmopolitan.
Cities, yes, that's right.
And enough.
Okay, thank you. What else? Do we have other have or have got here? What do you think? Mustafa?
It has a lot of wide open spaces.
Yes, this is number one. That's right.
And the second one, we have a population of almost
Yes.
300 million, and people have come from all over the world.
No, this is not good. This is wrong. Why?
Uh,
Because here have is an auxiliary verb. Because this sentence is in the present perfect. And in the present perfect, we use have as an auxiliary verb, right?
yes. And the third one, we have a big cosmopolitan.
Yes. Yes, that's right. Do we have another one?
No,
Okay, that's
only
right. We don't have another one. So here in this text, we don't have got. We only have. So can you guess the country? If you're raising your hand, please raise it again. And don't keep raising it so that I know who's raising their hand and who left this option on. So can you guess this country, Mustafa?
United States of America.
Yes, so this one is
And the previous
the previous
text,
one.
it's
Yes,
New Zealand.
it's New Zealand. Yes, that's right. It's about New Zealand. This one, the second one, is about the United States of America. Now we move to this one. Here we also have someone talking about their country. And he or she says, my country is the northern part of a bigger country, but we have got our own parliament. There are just over 5 million of us. We've got a lot of mountains, and there are also lots of rivers, lakes, and islands. People come to my country to fish. Our salmon is famous all over the world, and we also produce a very famous drink called whiskey. Let me read it again. My country is the northern part of a bigger country, but we've got our own parliament. There are just over 5 million of us. We've got a lot of mountains, and there are also lots of rivers, lakes, and islands. People come to my country to fish. Our salmon is famous all over the world, and we also produce a very famous drink called whiskey. Now, who can read it? Of course, Mustafa.
My country is the northern part of a bigger country, but we've got our own parliament. There are just over 5 million of us. We have got a lot of mountains, and there are also lots of rivers, lakes, and islands. People come to my country to fish. Our salmon is famous all over the world, and we also produce a very famous drink called whiskey.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. Who else can read it? Who else can read it? Noor, are you raising your hand or what?
Yes. My country is the northern part of a bigger country, but we have got our own parliament. There are just over 5 million of us. of us. We have got a lot of mountains, and there are also lots of rivers, lakes. And Iceland people come to my country to fish. Our salmon is famous all over the world. And we also produce a very famous drink called whiskey.
Cold whiskey, yes, thank you. Now, Hanan, of course, only 3 people participating today. Okay, Hanan, go ahead.
My country is the northern part of a biggest country, but we have got our own parliament. There are just over 5 million of us. We have got a lot of mountains, and there are also lots of rivers, lakes, and islands. People come to my country to fish. Our salmon is famous all over the world, and we also produce a very famous drink called whiskey.
Okay, thank you. Now, the question is, do we have or have got here? Do we have or have got here? Noor?
We have got our own parliament,
Yes, that's right.
and we have got a lot of mountains.
Yes, that's right.
Enough.
Yeah, so do we have another one?
No. Enough.
Okay, that's right. Thank you. Now, who can guess this country? Mustafa?
I think it's Scotland.
Yes, that's right. It's about Scotland. Thank you, everyone. So in this text, we have got, and we don't have. And please remember that these 3 texts are, in fact, speeches delivered by 3 people. This means that these are people speaking about their countries, and not these are not written texts, but we have written them so that to show you the text and to make you read. يعني هاي الثلاث نصوص الأخيرة هذه عبارة عن حديث، كانوا عبارة عن حديث ل3 أشخاص يحكون عن بن لادن. تختلف عن ال3 اللي بالبداية اللي كانت أصلا نصوص مكتوبة. هذه مكتوبة حتى بس تقروها، ولكن هذه عبارة عن أحاديث كلام لأشخاص يتكلمون عن بلدانهم. So please keep it in your mind. Now we move to have and have got. What is meant by have and have got? This is the question. And what is the difference between them? Who can answer these questions? What is meant by have and have got? What is meant by have and have got? What is meant by the verb have? Mustafa?
For definition, it's used to something I have it.
So in Arabic, what does it mean?
يعني تعبر عن شيء أنا أمتلكه.
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. So this is what is meant by have or have got. So do we have a difference between have and have got? And what is the difference between them? Hanan Ghazwan?
I think have يمتلك وhave got يحصل على.
Okay, let us see if you are right or not. So have and have got, as a matter of fact, they have the same meaning. Okay, both of these expressions, whether you use the verb only have, or you use it with got, both of them has the same have the same meaning, right? So there is no difference in meaning. If you can say, it's possible to say have and have got in certain contexts. But what is the difference? They are used before that. They are used to talk about what? Your colleague Mustafa said that to speak about something that I have, and in Arabic he said no أمتلك شيء. So it's first we use them have or have got to talk about possession. What is meant by possession? What is meant by possession? Do you remember when we talked about the possessive S and the possessive pronouns? Mustafa Khalid?
هي تعبر دكتور عن الامتلاك.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Possession معناها تملك, right? So we use them to speak about first possession, and second we use them to show certain relationships. When you can use the verbs have or have got to speak about relationships. So what is meant by relationships? Sorry about that. Just a minute, please. Okay, to talk about relationships. What is meant by relationships? Mustafa?
العلاقات بين الشخص والشيء اللي يملكه.
الشخص والشخص الآخر, between people, right?
Yes.
So we use have to speak about, and have got, of course, to speak about possession and their relationships. And the third one is to speak about illnesses. What is meant by an illness? What is an illness? You hear the word illness. Not illness. Sorry, Abaid Abdul Hamid?
مرض.
Yes, exactly. So for example, you say, I have a headache. What is meant by this? If you say, I have a headache, or I have a Iman Hadi?
ألم في الرأس.
Yes. So I'm here in this context, in this sentence, I'm using the verb have to talk about illnesses. And we also use them to speak about characteristics. What is meant by characteristics? Hanan?
الشخصيات.
Characteristics, not characters. Characteristics. Mustafa?
مميزات.
Yes, مميزات, خصائص, features, attributes. So we use them. We use have and have got to speak about possession, relationships, illnesses, and characteristics. Please keep them in your mind. And we said there is no difference in meaning. Both of them refer to the same meaning. But the idea is that we use have got more commonly in informal texts. When we talk about, when we use them, when we say informal text, means that we use them usually in a speech, and we use them especially in American English, not in British English. We're going to see. So these are some examples. I have got a car. I have a car. Same meaning. I've got 3 sisters. I have 3 sisters. Same meaning. I've got a high temperature. I have a high temperature. Same meaning. If you pay attention, the first sentence refers to what? To possession, right? The second one refers to, we said we have how many things that we can talk about using have or have got? We have 4: possession, relationships, illnesses, and characteristics. So these examples, the first one we said it speaks about possession. I have a car. It means I've got a car. It means I own a car. This car is mine. The second one speaks about what? What do you think? What does the second one speak about, Hanan?
يعني الهاف قط إنه تكون المواقف العادية اللي ما تحتاج إلى رسميات، يعني الانفورمال.
حنان أنا ذكرته قبل شوية، تذكرين الجملة قلت لك عليها إننا نستخدم الهاف والهاف جات بنفس المعنى، تستخدمها للتحدث عن عدة شغلات من البوزيشن، تملك، relationships، العلاقات، illnesses، الأمراض، الفور، قلنا الكاركترستكس، المميزات، يعني نشوف أو نعرض مميزات وخصائص في شيء معين، نستخدم الفعلين have و have got. تمام؟ فهسه احنا جينا على هاي الاكزامبلز. قلنا أول example I've got a car، واللي بنفس الوقت تعني I have a car. قلنا هذا نتكلم عن ال possession, right? So what about the second one? What are we talking about? Mustafa?
relationships.
Yes, exactly. Here we are showing relationships. We are talking about relationships. When I say I have got 3 sisters, it means at the same time I have 3 sisters. There is no difference in meaning. So here I'm talking about relationships. And the third one, I've got a high temperature, or I have a high temperature. Here we are talking about, Mustafa?
Illness.
Yes, exactly. Here we are talking about illness, right? But the difference is that when I use have got, it means that this is an informal context. And if in informal context, I should use have, right? This is the difference. So please pay attention to this slight difference. So before we talk about the questions, just to remind you that if you remember the first 3 texts, when we were talking about those countries, I told you that those were written text speaking about those countries. They were written text. كانوا نصوص مكتوبين أصلاً. It means that they are kind of formal. And that's why we couldn't find any sentence there that may contain have got. But in the second 3 texts, we found in certain places the combination have got, right? And if you remember, I told you that the second 3 texts were speeches delivered by certain people. مثل ما تذكرون النصوص الثانية، يعني الثاني مجموعة، الثلاث نصوص اللي قريناها، ذكرت لكم إنه هذه كانت أحاديث لأشخاص. So they are informal. And that's why we found certain lines we found have got. And another idea is that we may find have got in written text, but it's originally used in speeches. When you talk, let us say oral speeches, in oral language, in a spoken language we call it. So in a spoken language, in the speech, we can find have got, but in written text we usually don't find have got, right? يعني بالكلام المكتوب غالبا يكون formal، ما راح نلاقي have got، ولكن بالحديث غالبا يكون اكو have got، خاصة بالنسبة للتحدث باللغة الإنجليزية بالأمريكان accent, right? So now, how to form a question using have or have got. For example, this sentence. I have got a car, or let us change it. They have got a car, and they have a car. So how to form a question? Mustafa Khalid, do you have an idea?
Have they got a car?
Have they got a car? And what about the second one? They have a car.
Have they a car?
Okay, let us see. So, if we have a sentence that contains have only, we should use what? We should use do. Why? Because in this sentence, like you see here, I have a car, or they have a car. Originally, look at the sentence. Is in which tense? Which tense is this? What do you think? Mustafa, what do you think? Hanan was one.
Present.
It's in the present simple tense. I have a car. Subject, verb, object. I have a car, right? So how to form a question using the present simple tense? Hanan?
Do plus I or we or you or they plus have a car question mark. وبالdoes does he or she have a car with question mark.
Yes. So forming a question in the present simple tense, when we form a question in the present simple tense, we should start by the auxiliary verb do or does, depending on the subject. And then we should have the subject of the sentence, and we should then have the main verb of the sentence in its root form, and then the complement, and of course a question mark. So if I say that this is a sentence in the present simple tense, so I should start the question by do or does. So I have a car. Do I have a car? Like, do you have a cat? Do you have a car? Do they have a car? Okay, but if we are using have got, so in this case, we should use the auxiliary have. Why? Why? Because we deal with such sentences as being a sentence in the present perfect tense. Rami Adnan, do you have something to say? You're raising your hand. Okay, maybe by mistake. So if we have a sentence with have got, we should start the question, we should form the question with the verb have. Like here, have you got a cat? Like, for example, the sentence. Let us suppose that it is, you have got a car, or you have got a cat. I should say, have you got a cat? It's like this one. Have you got a cat? Have you got a headache? Okay? Is it clear? So if we have a sentence that contains have got, we should form the question out of the sentence using the auxiliary verb have. And we should deal with it as if it is in the present perfect tense. But if we have a sentence that contains the verb have only, so we should start the question with the auxiliary verb do or does, depending on the subject, of course. And we should treat that sentence as if it is in the present simple tense. Clear? Clear, everyone? Is it clear? Mustafa, is it clear? Mustafa Khalid,
Yes.
is it clear?
Yes. For
No.
the first one, I answered true. Forgot.
اوكي، هسه خلينا نشرحها بالعربي. اذا كان عندنا جمله بها الفعل have فقط، راح نتعامل مع الجمله كانه جمله بالpresent simple tense. ولما يكون عندنا جمله بالpresent simple tense لازم السؤال يبدي بالدو او does حسب الفاعل، وبعدين طبعا الفعل الرئيسي للجمله وتكمله الجمله وعلامه الاستفهام. اما اذا كانت الجمله بها have got، معناها راح نتعامل مع الجمله كانه هي جمله بالpresent perfect tense. ولهذا السؤال راح يبدي have بالauxiliary verb have. يكون مثلا I have got a cat or they have got a cat. الquestion يكون have you got a cat أو have they got a cat، هكذا. فإذا كان السؤال، إذا كانت الجملة بها الفعل have فقط، نتعامل معها كأنما جملة بالpresent simple tense ونبدي السؤال بشكل طبيعي do أو does. إذا كانت بها have got، نتعامل مع الجملة كأنما بالpresent perfect ونبدي السؤال بالهاف والهاز طبعا بناء على الفاعل عفوا. واحنا طبعا لحد الان ما كان قرينا البريزنت بيرفكت، ممكن بعدين راح ناخذه بشكل عام. تبدون السؤال اذا كانت الجمله بالهاف جات، السؤال يبدي بالهاف. اذا كانت الجمله بها هاف جات، يبدي السؤال بالهاف. and that's it. So easy, so simple. Now sometimes in informal context, sometimes, it's not always, but sometimes we can switch from one form to another. Like when you say, when someone asks you a question and they use have, but you answer them using have got. But it's okay. It's not. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time. Like when someone asks you, how many brothers do you have? You can say, I've got 3. If it is an informal context. إذا كان الكونتكست سياق الحديث غير رسمي، فممكن إذا شخص يسألك مثلا سؤال، السؤال يحتوي على الفعل have فقط، ممكن أنت تجاوب باستخدام صيغة ال have got. I've got 3 مثل ما موجود بهذا السؤال الجواب. هذه ما دائما تحصلها فقط بالinformal context اللي هي السياق الغير رسمي. تمام؟ Okay, that's it. And we should also remember that have got cannot be used to tense. Only have is possible in this case. So have got cannot be used to talk about actions. ما ممكن ومن الخطأ جدا إنه نستخدم ال have got للتحدث عن أفعال actions، يعني أفعال تتطلب حركة. فقط have مثلا إذا تقول I usually have got lunch at 1 o'clock. It's wrong because this case, this is an action. So in this case, it's wrong. We said that we use have and have possession, relationships, illnesses, and characteristics. And we cannot use have got to speak about actions. Okay, so this is wrong. This sentence is wrong. And the correct one, I usually have lunch at 1 o'clock. So we cannot use have got to speak about actions. Now, we should also remember that yesterday. Is it correct? I had got unbelievable experience yesterday. No, it's not. It's incorrect because we cannot change have got into had got. We only use it as have got, right? And the correct one, I had an unbelievable experience yesterday. You cannot use got in the past simple tense. Okay, so these are the contracted forms, and I think that you know them. Why? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Because I lost the connection.
What's the question?
Okay, تفضل.
What's the question?
Sorry.
What's the إيش السؤال؟
ما سألت سؤال ولكن صار عندي خلل.
تمام.
فصل الانترنت فسألتكم تسمعوني ولا لا؟ Okay, so now you can see, right? Yes, that's right. Because I lost the connection. Okay, now we move to the exercises, but unfortunately I think that we won't have time. Only look at this picture. Look at this picture, which you can find on page 13 of your workbook. It's about have and have got. This is a room, right? A bedroom in which we have certain things. So look at the picture of Julie's bedroom and complete the sentences in two ways. Once with has or doesn't have, and once with has got, hasn't got. Quickly, we're going to do them. And if we can't complete them, we will complete them in the next lecture, inshallah. So, an example, she has a CD player, which is this one. She's got a CD player. Now, can you complete this? Number 2. Who can complete it? Hanan Ghazwan.
She has got a tennis racket.
And you have to form two sentences. One of them with has and the second one with hasn't. And you see the sentence, for example, here, a tennis racket. You should look at the picture. Does she really have a tennis racket or not?
Yeah.
If she has a tennis racket, you can say she has a tennis racket. If
She
she
has-
doesn't have, you should say she doesn't have.
Okay. She has a tennis racket. She has got a tennis racket.
Yes, that's right. Number 3, lots of CDs. Who else who can do it? I think that we won't have the enough time to do more than number 3. Who can do number 3? Mustafa?
She has got a lot of CDs, and she has a lot of CDs.
Yes, that's right. She has got a lot of CDs and she has a lot of CDs. Now, number 4, television. ما أعرف نور أنت هترفعين ايدك ولا لا؟ لأنه ايدك بقت مرفوعة. حنان؟
No.
حنان؟
She has a television. She has got a television.
Yes, exactly. She has a television. She has got a television. Number 5. Mustafa?
She has a computer, and she has got a computer.
Yes, that's right. And the last one, number 6. Noor? Noor Mustafa?
She has an iPod, and she has got an iPod.
Do you think that she has an iPod? Noor, look at the picture. The answer is she doesn't have an iPod. She hasn't got an iPod, right? Because there is no iPod in the picture. So that's it for this day. Thank you for joining this lesson. I'm sorry we are running out of time. So next time, inshallah, we will do more exercises and we will complete studying about have and have. Maybe we will have another topic. I will inform you, inshallah, in your Google Classroom. And I will upload a PDF file that contains all of these important topics. So thank you for joining this lesson and have a nice day ahead. See you next time. Bye-bye.